In 1998, one of the best strategy games ever made was released for a console no one was playing. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today we do the review of Worms for the Atari Jaguar.
Second Opinion Games.
First things first, let's get a couple things out of the way. Like, for example, this game is no good-looking model here. Matter of fact, she is borderline ugly. Well, maybe not ugly, just very, very subpar looking. Now, I usually play on a 13-inch Trinitron Sony TV. And I'll tell you what, seeing landmines on this is pretty much impossible. You need a much bigger screen in order to play this game properly. However, when you play on a much bigger screen, like you're probably watching right now, it looks pretty bad. Also, the sound effects aren't really the best. I mean, they're serviceable overall, and the music here is really non-existent other than what you hear on the main menu. So to make this review sound absolutely not boring, I took that main menu music and shoved it behind the gameplay to give you a slightly better feel for the game, even if it's not exactly honest, because it's just not there. Okay. Those are the big ones to get out of the way. So what about the control scheme? Maybe that's where this game shines. Well, it does and doesn't. Overall, it's actually quite serviceable. The directional pad makes your worm move back and forth. The A button is for jumping. Well, a lot of good that really does you. The B button is for firing your weapon. If you're shooting, say, a rocket launcher or throwing grenades, the longer you hold it, the more strength it will have. And also you have to keep in mind that the wind will change every single turn, sometimes dramatically one way to the next. And the C button, if you hold it in, you can look all around the map. Okay, that's pretty easy, but not exactly cutting edge. Also, the option button lets you switch between all of the many weapons at your disposal, and there is a ton of them. I really love the homing missiles, which just let me shoot straight up in the air and still hit my target, and also calling in an airstrike, which could completely wipe out the other team. However, these weapons are very, very limited, so you have to use them sparingly. Occasionally, there will be a weapons drop that shows up on the map, which you're going to try and get your little critter to them very quickly, but you really don't know what's inside, and sometimes you could just be wasting your turn to gather these just to get a weapon you don't really want or need, like extra shotgun ammo, because I'm just using it as an example here, guys. However, if you're lucky enough to get an extra airstrike, the entire game could make a pivot right then and there. Options, though, are one place this game really shines. There is tons and tons of options, so you could customize anything to any way you want. However, there's so many options here, you could spend forever just in these menus, just fiddling around. So just play the game the way it's somewhat normally played. Now, even setting up a simple game with the computer can be somewhat difficult, and you can set it up to play with friends as well, and you don't even need a second controller. You just simply pass it back and forth. The game itself plays fine. The graphics aren't so good looking. The sound effects aren't so good looking. The options are plentiful, almost too much so you pretty much get lost. While we're talking about customizing stuff here in the options, you could also customize your levels, and there are tons of them. A matter of fact, if you figure out all the options in level selection, there is about 4 billion of them, giving you plenty of games to play through. However, not all of them are created equally, and you're going to want to take a pass on some of the missions. It does give you a quick black and white overview before you start the match, but that really doesn't tell you very much because it's kind of hard to see which ones are your worms and which ones are the opponent's worms, which actually kind of even things out because you don't really know who you're fighting against. Also, if you're playing on a very small screen, telling the difference between your worms and your opponents can also be very difficult, so just keep that in mind when playing. The controls are average, so why do I think this game is so good? Well, it reminds me of chess. If you simply want to sit down and play a game of chess, when you beat your opponent or get beat, you could have a good feeling or bad feeling about yourself. This game is the same as chess. Simply winning one game, you could say you beat the whole thing because that's really all there is to see. But it's really not about just playing one game here. It's about learning all the ins and outs of the game and becoming a master and actually playing with friends, because chess is no fun playing one player, and it is best crushing your friend just sitting across from you. And that's where the game shines, as a party game, to sit down with a group of friends and have a slugfest until your worms prevail as winners. And that actually sounds really stupid now that I say it out loud. So this game coming out so late in the Jag's life cycle means it is very, very expensive and nearly impossible to track down. Is it worth it? Well, if you have any friends whatsoever that's willing to sit down and play the Jag with you, absolutely. Of course, you could pick up much, much cheaper Worms games on other consoles like the Super Nintendo and the PlayStation, and you're probably actually better off going that route. But if you love the Jag as much as I do, then you can certainly play this version and have a great time. And also for you Jeff Minter fans out there, those of you that know the Jaguar know who he is, well, there's even sheep in this game for you that you can play with. Haha, haha. So guys, seriously, definitely play this game if you have the chance. If you don't, play another Worms game. This is like a super great game, similar to chess. It makes me feel the same feelings and emotions that I have when I'm playing this game. And overall, this is certainly one of the best games ever made, just like chess. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. If you like this review and you are watching it in the year 2018, I am planning on releasing a new video every single week on every single Wednesday. So please hit that subscribe button because there is going to be tons of new content, including PC Engine reviews, more Super Nintendo games you've probably never even heard about, and lots more. And quite a few top 10s mixed in there as well, and at least 4 more Atari Jaguar games before the end of the year. So until later, I'll see you again, guys.